Have you ever seen these videos where these artists are painting on their action figures or sculptures to create this cartoon cel-shaded look? Here, let me show you. On the channel Can I Make It has Ken made a series where he applies a cel shading technique to his X-Men 97 figures as well as some Batman figures. It makes the figures look even closer than they did on the actual cartoon, and it got me really inspired. Then I found the channel of Green Stuff World. Check this out. Here they are applying some cel shading techniques to Dragon Ball Z figures, which is amazing work as well, especially the use of the different tones of color to show the cel shading effect. I have placed both of their channels down in the description, so please check them out. But then I stumbled on something else, the artist Joshua Vides. He creates cel shading on a whole different level, namely on real life cars. With a strong black and white contrast, it almost looks like the cars are coming straight out of a comic book. And it gets even crazier because they can actually drive away. The result is really insane, and this got me even more inspired for the next project we are gonna do in this video. Definitely check him out. I've put a link to his Instagram down in the description as well. So we got cel shading on action figures in one hand and cel shading on real life cars in the other. And I was thinking, why not combine both of those techniques on something I really love? Come, let me show you. So in this video we are gonna try something else. Instead of making dioramas, we are gonna do a custom paint job for a toy. And the first toy we are gonna try in this new series, and you might have guessed it, is of course the Batmobile of Batman the Animated Series. I'm super excited to try this. Welcome in this new video. Let's grab our gear and get to work. So the idea is to cel shade this Batmobile. But how do we know where to apply the cel shading on this thing? Let's do some preparation first by making a photo of the Batmobile, putting it into Procreate, which is a drawing program on the iPad, and start sketching. Okay, here we are in Procreate, so let's draw on top of our photo to get an idea where we want to go. Based on the reference of the show, I will try to give the car a bluish tone that is not too dark but also not too light. The general idea is not to have too many colors. Simplicity is key here. I'm thinking just 3 shades of color. A generic blue for the base, black for the darkest shadows, and 1 blue for the highlights and details. This is the same for the gray details, and I will use white for some minor highlights. Of course, I'm also looking at Joshua Vides, how he applies the black and white contrast to the shape of the car. Maybe we will get some ideas of that on how to apply this to the Batmobile. Alright, and I think for a sketch this looks pretty good. We have a general idea where we want to go with this, so from here we can start prepping the Batmobile. So now that we have made our sketch, we have a bit of an idea where we want to go to with the design. But before we move on, we have to prep the Batmobile a little bit. There are still some stickers that we have to delete, like here on top of the hood and on the front where the headlights are. When we have removed the stickers, we will just mask the wheels and the windshield with some normal tape, so that the car is ready for a coat of primer. Okay, here we are with the primer result. I didn't record myself spray painting the Batmobile white because that's just applying a white color, but I do want to show the result to you because in white it actually looks pretty cool. It almost looks like an art piece that you could place in your home. But of course, the car will not stay white. So next step is the blue base color. It looks pretty cool. So we are back inside from applying the blue base color to the Batmobile, and it looks super cool already. The blue color is a cool match on the sketch we have made, as well on the show reference. Okay, I'm not sponsored to say this next part, but I just want to share this information with you because I think it's pretty cool. In case you're wondering what type of blue this is, I have found this brand called Amsterdam All Acrylics. After some research online, I saw that they have a variety of 94 colors. And the color code 570 Phalo Blue was the one that I thought came very close to my sketch, as well as the reference that we see in the cartoon show. Some other cool things about this paint is that they are actually acrylics. They are also water-based, which makes them low in odor, and it also results into is that the paint is not so sticky. Because they are water-based, you can also paint over them with other acrylics or with acrylic markers. So again, not sponsored, I just want to share this information with you. So now that we have our base layer, let's apply the other colors. This is where the fun begins. Okay, here we are, the fun part. Let's start to paint this Batmobile. I start by laying down the black on the bigger side panels, and this is just to see how the black plays against the blue. It's really about just checking the contrast and seeing if the whole thing just looks cool. And before I go in with the paint, I create myself some sort of safe zone by outlining the shapes with the Posca paint markers. And luckily the Batmobile sculpt already has these clean panel lines built in, so I can just follow them along and let them guide me. Sometimes I just rest my pen in the folds to get these nice sharp lines. And once that is locked in, I move on to the other spots that need some more care, like the front grille and the pipes on top. And for the grille, I'm back with my Posca paint markers. If you've never used them before, they're basically acrylic paint in marker form. They're super handy, great coverage, and they stick to almost anything. And you will see me use them quite a lot in this build. For the pipes though, I just switched back to regular acrylic paint, just a simple black and white mix to get a nice steel grey looking color, which is matching the grille. From there, it's all about slowly working my way around the car, adding black to the other side panels and inside the back wings. It's not a quick process, but building it up step by step really makes the details pop. And speaking of details, I then go back and add a darker shade of grey to the grille and the pipes. That little touch of cell shading instantly changes the look, and it's amazing how much difference these subtle tweaks are making. And next are the natural curves and the shadows, like on the nose and the rear of the car. And here I play around with these shadows, trying to get some more dynamic shapes that really sell the cell shading look that we are seeing in the animation series. While that is drying, I switched over to the inner jet. At first glance, it looks very intimidating, especially around the engine section. But it is also a fun challenge. I follow the same logic as I did on the main body. Black on the sides and the highlights on the natural curves. And to tie it back to the Batmobile, I matched the grille with the same grey tone. But I decided to take it a bit further here and painting the engine parts in a little bit of a darker grey color to make them stand out. This part was tricky, and yeah, I knew I would have to clean it up a little bit later, but it was totally worth it. I also gave the seat some color and experimented with a lighter blue for the windshield. If it works here, I know I can bring it to the main car, so stick around to see how that one plays out. So back to the Batmobile, I move on to the highlights, and this part had me sweating quite a bit. I did not want to make a mistake, and keeping those lines clean took a steady hand. I started on the nose and then worked my way around the car, around the wheels, along the curves, and across the back wings. I also pushed it on top of the car, just to play with how the highlights would hit the surface. At this point I wasn't totally sure if it would be the right call, but sometimes you just have to trust the process, I guess. And now something I was waiting for, because this step will give a nice pop of color to the car, which are the head and tail lights. The bright yellow headlights up the front and deep red tail lights in the back. These really transform the look. The yellow is a perfect complementary color to the blue, and the red at the back is adding detail that the original car actually was totally missing. I think it looks super cool already. And while I was playing around with these colors, I also throw them on the engine of the little jet, to simulate how these little bursts of flames are pushing through these open sections of the engine. And by now the Batmobile was really looking nice. I did some quick cleanup, like fixing the edges and adding some extra coat of paint here and there before moving on to the wheels. They have been wrapped in tape this whole time, so I was curious how they would look. And honestly, it was a bit too shiny for the style that I wanted. So I went in with my grey Posca paint markers again. It was fiddly work. It had tiny surfaces and awkward angles, but it was worth it. And to really push the cel-shaded look, I also gave them a duotone finish. In the meantime, I also want to take the time to thank you for watching and also to share with you my love for this toy. When I was a kid, it was so high on my wish list. I always asked it for my birthday or Christmas or Santa Claus or something like that, but I never got it as a kid. Because by the time I was allowed to get it, we went to the toy shop and we saw that all of the toys were replaced by the new movie back in the time, which was Batman and Robin. So you might have guessed it, I got that Batmobile instead. It was still a great toy, I still have it to this day. You can see it here on the shelf on the top of my shoulder, but of course it was not this one. So it actually took till the time that I was an adult that I could buy this one on the aftermarket. I'm super happy that I have this now and that I can share this project with you. You can also see that I have a Batmobile in box still, which is super cool because the boxes meant so much for me as a kid. The boxes were always beautifully illustrated, not only the Batman animated ones, but all kinds of toy lines. And as a kid, I could stare hours at these packaging just to see how they were drawn. And on the back, you could of course see what type of other action figures or vehicles you could collect. And they also inspired me to create these type of projects where we're just repainting the toy into this cartoon-inspired cel shading art style. So again, thank you for watching. Don't click away yet, we're not done. I will just apply the final details and then we can go to the final result. As you can see, I had a lot of fun making this project. Not only was it the first time for me that I recolored a toy, but I also learned a new editing software and I learned the 3D software called Blender to create backgrounds that you can see throughout the video. And speaking of upcoming videos, you know that Batman has a lot of different type of vehicles, so I guess we can find one that would fit to recolor as well. For now, thank you so much for watching, liking, commenting and subscribing. I really like to read all of the comments, what you think about the video and what you like to see next. So keep that coming, and thank you for your support, it really means a lot. And all that is left is finding a parking spot for the car so that I can do a final hero shot, and then I will see you in the next video. Oh, sharp turn here!